from Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering, YCCE. He was the student from 2007 to 2011. After that, he has completed his master's from BITS Pilani, and then he worked for the European funded projects. He worked for HyperNav projects funded by European Union at University of Cordoba and Cordoba in Spain, where he has been confirmed his PhD in computer science. Currently, he is doing a postdoc in machine learning and computational intelligence at Aarhus University, Denmark. And he is having the very good experience in machine learning and computational intelligence. Now I request to Nitin to proceed further and give the brief, the webinar on the basis of how we can get admitted into the different universities of different countries, and also share some valuable experience with all our participants. To Nitin to proceed further and give the brief,
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction, nice introduction. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be part of this particular program where I need to share my experience with all these students. So yeah, so I'll just go through the slides which are quite relevant with the higher education abroad, and also some of the universities from Europe, US, and what are the requirements. So I'll just start. I'll just share the which are quite relevant with the higher education abroad, and also some of the universities from Europe, US, and okay. Is it visible now? The slide?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, it is visible.
So so today's basically aim is basically how can we learn and earn. So that's the aim of this particular webinar. So what are the various funding opportunities, and how can you explore different educational platforms, different universities, and what are the resources? So I'll be mostly covering the most of the topics which are quite relevant with learning and earning kind of a scheme. I myself has done that particular thing until now. So yeah, I'm Nitin Satpute, as I said. I mean, I'm a postdoc in machine learning and computational intelligence from Aarhus University, Denmark. So I will start with the outline about today's agenda. So I'll start with the ranking of the universities around the world, as I said, like from US and Europe, and also in India. If you want to check, I mean, what are the universities which are really helpful for your further education, future education regarding a master's and PhD. Then we will discuss about score requirements based on the universities and how they vary, and how they vary based on their field of studies. And after that, definitely the documents required, whether it can be your CV or your scorecards and the letter of recommendations, all these things, and what are their importance. And the important thing, the funding agencies where you're going to study for the higher education is really important for you or not. I mean, are they providing you the funding? Enough funding is there for other kind of resources if you want to travel for your conferences, journals? So which kind of funding agency will be quite helpful, and I will give the brief information about it and how you can search for it. Once you are admitted or you are searching for it, definitely the available facilities, they are more important. Whether they do provide a proper internet connection, starting from there to do they have a lab facilities, do they have enough computing resources if you are working on a data science or high performance computing field. I mean, it will be more or less generalized, but in order to explain in more detail, I'll give the example of my particular field where I'm actually studying, so that it can be quite relevant, I mean, quite relatable for all of you. And then, yes, the Earn and Learn scheme, how can you do that? I mean, what are these different scholarships which provides you the funding for higher education like masters, PhDs, and even for the postdoc? And once you finish your education, then what are the different job opportunities? So around you in India, inside industries, universities, and also and also like intermediate, like industry and university. Can you do that? And definitely the postdocs nowadays, that's in a boom, because there are not many projects people are getting in EU, European Union, and also inside US, United States. So how can you exploit that job opportunities? And finally, I will just give the brief profile information about myself. How did I acquire all these things, and what are the challenges, what are the rejections that we need to face in order to proceed further. So I'll just give you the brief information about it. So I'll start with the ranking of the universities, basically from India. You can have the relatable information that how it is ranked. So yes, it depends on the field of study. If you Google search it, you will find this particular information. That's not a big issue. But the important thing is how do you relate it with your particular field of study. So it may be possible that IIT Delhi may not be quite good for mechanical engineering or for other kind of field of interest. So how do you find that? For that, definitely you need to go through the profiles of the college and the universities and also the labs where exactly you are going to work. Like for masters, so you need to explore the different masters program. If it is related to data science or HPC, then go with the masters in data science HPC and check which are the universities which are really important and which are high in ranking. So what do I mean by high in ranking? Do they provide enough placements? Do they have enough resources, and what are the collaborative efforts they are taking around the world? So do they have enough collaborations between different universities, between different countries? So these are the things. So definitely I have given some of the top universities from India. So, but there are also like BITS Pilani, other names, Triple IT, Triple IT, I mean, various Triple ITs from Bangalore, Kerala, Allahabad. So these are the other universities which are still missing. So it doesn't matter if you don't get it here. It's perfectly fine. What is important is, I mean, you get your required field of study. If you are interested in that particular field of study, even it is not ranked in this particular scenario, it will be helpful for you in order to grow further. But you should concentrate on what area you exactly want to work on. So it can, if it is AI and HPC, how can you manage? If there are interdisciplinary fields, so do they have enough professors? Do they have enough labs? So this kind of research you need to do before going to that particular college. So the similar way, there are top universities from the US. So again, I mean, simple Google search, you can find it, but you need to find the area of interest, like if it is a space physics. So for that space physics, are they really working hard, or their labs and the departments, is it really helpful? Or if you want to see the convergence between HPC and space physics, so you need to find out which are the guys which are really working hard in the area of high performance computing, the computer science, and also the space physics, the computational physics kind of aspect. So, I mean, you know, the today's world is mostly the interdisciplinary in nature. So for that, finding the one particular resource person who is expert in both the fields, like if it is a computational physics, then you should find somebody who is really expert in the computational aspect. It can be HPC, it can be the physics part. Inside physics also, there are many areas, sub areas, like whether it's a biophysics, whether it's a space physics. It can be, if it is computational chemistry, then you need to know about genomics and all those kind of things. If it is biology, then what are the different subtopics inside the biology, and how you can relate it with the computational part. So my particular experience is you should go with something which is interdisciplinary, because that's what people are right now working on. You will not find a single person who is actually working on one particular area. They need to explore the other areas apart from their particular areas of interest. So even if you explore the universities based on your field of interest, you should see if that particular person or a professor in that particular field, uh, does he have enough collaborations? Does he have enough interdisciplinary expertise? So can you work with him? How many publications does he have? And what are the other kind of stuff that he does, like organizing conferences, then being a member of a journal, or the other extra curricular activities that you need to understand. But yeah, for the masters, definitely you will not have that much information. What you can go is going through the particular programs. If it is masters in data science, if it is masters in HPC, so you just need to type masters in data science, then you will get the list of universities. So instead of In that particular list, you need to see. I mean, it may be possible that you will not find the exact masters in data science or masters in HPC program. So you need to see whether the other programs do they have courses which are already included in this particular program, which is not called as a masters in data science. So what I mean by that is you have masters in computer science. So you will just go into that particular university, check what are the different courses for masters in computer science, and then you will find different options. Like it can be a deep learning based courses, can be a data science based courses, but along with that, they might be having a different courses like computational mathematics, the DSP, image processing. But along with that, if you have some areas of interest which is already included in that particular structure, then it is perfectly fine. Because at the master's level, you will rarely find uh, the field of study which is aligned to you. So you'll find the field of study along with the other areas of interest as well. As I said, if you're going for a computational part, definitely it will include the image processing. It will include the other stuffs like computer architecture, for example, the communication. So you need to take these subjects as well if you don't find your particular field of interest. So the other way is just find your field of study. That's the important thing. You should know where exactly you want to work on, whether it's a wireless communication, whether it's a computer architecture, or it's a image processing. So once you have decided, then check the list of the universities which are highly ranked, and then check the programs which they offer. The master's program, if somebody is opting for a PhD, then the PhD programs, do they have actual masters in image processing, masters in data science, masters in communications? Yes, that is fine. Then make another list, they sort it out. If it is not there, then check if the programs that they are offering, do they have enough courses for your field of interest. So it can be a image processing. Again, you just check it whether do they have like image and video processing as one course, biomedical imaging as another course, so that it will be quite relevant for you guys, and then you can grow in that particular area. So these are the schemes, yeah, you should apply while searching for the universities in order to study abroad. And yes, you should also see, I mean, how is that particular area? Like if you're going to MIT, so Massachusetts, so how is it? Like if you're going to the Stanford, so it's basically what are the surrounding areas and what are the different accommodation facilities, different resources, which can be easily for living a life there. So these are the things you should explore, I mean, while going for a master's, before going for a master's. In EU and UK, you can find most of the universities from UK, but there are the other universities from EU also. Like I have mentioned, the TU Berlin, Technical University of Berlin, Germany, and also ETS Zurich, Switzerland. But from Switzerland, there are like EPFL, École Polytechnique Federal Lausanne kind of university, EPFL Switzerland. So that's another high-ranked universities. So ETS Zurich is like a MIT of Europe. So this is also a top rank. One more thing I would like to say, it's perfectly fine. I mean, you should not bound yourself with a particular reason, like you only want to go to the US or you only want to go to the Europe. You should always be flexible to go any location. What is important is your field of interest. If that particular field of interest is not there in the US, or unfortunately you cannot obtain it in US, you can come in Europe and do that particular study, the masters in that particular field of interest, and then you can grow very well. I will give you that example. But yeah, you should be open for different places, because there are a lot many competitions, and definitely like you, there are millions of students who are continuously applying. There are seniors who are continuously applying, industries experts who are also applying for masters and PhD. So you need to see, I mean, if you want the instant output, then you should be open for other opportunities as well. So as I said, like there are other universities from Switzerland, ETH and EPFL. There is also a University of Bern from Switzerland. And yeah, from Netherlands, there are TU technical universities like TU Eindhoven and TU Delft. So if you type the country-wise list, you'll find many lists. Like in Denmark, there are like IT University of Copenhagen, Aarhus University, From Spain, there is like University of Valencia, Barcelona, University of Barcelona, and also the Cordoba. So you need to identify which country, and then again, whether do they have that particular field of interest or not. So with that, you can make a list, and then you can have a better idea based on your reason where exactly you want to go, and also based on your field of interest. But the point is, you should be open for any opportunities at any places. Specifically, in between US and Europe, you should be, and UK, you should be flexible. It's okay if you move any one of the places, because I found many people, many students who are like only they want to do is PhD in from US, and if they don't get it, that they don't do it. So that attitude, I mean, I guess in the current scenario, you need to change, because uh, you are replaceable. Everybody is replaceable. If you are not there, then somebody else will occupy your position. That's gonna happen because of the competitions that we are having. So definitely you cannot be picky in your choices. You should be open for other options also. Now, for these universities, like again, for Indian universities and some of the other the foreign universities also, like NUS, National University of Singapore, and NTU from Singapore. So they also take GATE as the exam, as the entry requirement, but it's basically for the Indian universities and also some of the foreign universities. But mostly you need like GRE if you are going for US or European or even Australian universities and UK. And then for as an English language requirement, TOEFL and IELTS. These are must. So TOEFL or IELTS. So you can take any one of them. I mean, you can find the exam structure and what structure will be beneficial for you, and in what particular structure you can score more. And then based on that, you just choose, okay, the TOEFL is good for your uh, particular area, or IELTS is basically, and also it depends on the university. Some universities, uh, they decided, okay, you should have the TOEFL score, or some universities say, okay, you should have only IELTS score. Now, they do require the score during masters, they do require it during PhD. Nowadays in Europe also, previously, I mean, for me, I didn't require this GRE or TOEFL because the universities didn't want it. But although we do all our education in English, uh, but then also if you're coming from India or certain reasons, so they do need this course. GRE definitely in order to screen. And once you are screened out, finally for scholarship and everything else, you need TOEFL and IELTS. So what are the scores? That's the important question. Again, I didn't mention that scores here. It totally depends on the universities. If I'm talking about a GATE, so, and also it depends on the year of examination that you are taking. So GATE, for example, in some years, like in my place, like in 2013, it was quite, in 2011, it was quite difficult. So even guys who got like 45 or 50 marks out of 100, they got the IITs. I will not go into the percentile, because above 99 percentile, you will find like 5,000 people or 10,000 people. I'll go with the scores. But in 2013, uh, even the guys who got like 60 marks, even they couldn't get the IITs. So this vary based on the exam structure and based on the universities. For NITs, you may require like 50, 55 marks, but this may not be constant. If the examination pattern is quite easier, then your score, the top score will go around 90 or 95. And then even if you're getting 60 marks, that may not be enough. You will have to go to the other colleges. Similarly for GRE, TOEFL, GRE mostly I can say if you have like about 310, 320, then it's a good score. If I'm not wrong, the GRE is around 340 marks. I'm just trying to recollect it. So if out of 340 you have more than 320, definitely you're eligible for topmost colleges from US. If you have more than 310, then again, I mean, you will have more options, but not the top universities from US. But after about 310, you can clearly explore the European universities quite well. And TOEFL, uh, again, TOEFL is around 120, if I'm not wrong. And out of 120, the average score is about 100 and 105. If you want a best universities, then it should be around 115 or 112. So that kind of score. But this you should clearly clarify from, from the Google search. What is the score requirements, and previously what was the score in order to get inside this particular university. So these are the things you will get it from the university website because they mention it, or from your colleagues, like what are the actual requirements of this course, and whether your score is right for this particular university or not. Sure. So initially, I started with the universities and your area of expertise. Once you have that short listing, then definitely you will take the examinations. Once you take the exams, then you have the scores. Based on the scores, again, your shortlisted university will be small, because if you have the high scores, definitely you will go for the top rank universities. You will just remove the other universities. If you have medium average scores, so you will just remove the top rank universities and the lower rank universities. If you have lower scores, either you can retake the exam, or you can go with the lower rank universities. But again, the way I'm classifying it, high rank universities, low rank universities, it doesn't matter at all. It just at that particular moment you'll feel bad. Okay, you are not in that high list of universities, high rank universities. But once you qualify from the other universities also, you can grow quite well. There are a lot many opportunities, a lot many options. What matters is whether do you have enough expertise in your area of interest or not, whether you know the concepts quite well or not. So that's more important, because based on that only you will get the job opportunities. The reason is nowadays the job opportunities are quite open. So what I mean by quite open is anybody from any corner around the world can apply for anywhere, any job, in any industry or in any academic place. So definitely, if it is quite relevant, the industry or academia or the universities, like or the labs, they will shortlist you, and then they will call you for the interviews. Yes, I understand if you have the high ranked universities as the tag, like MIT, Stanford, so IITs, it does impact. But what if you don't have? It doesn't mean that you lost everything. The other channel is you make yourself so strong in your particular field of interest, so that if anybody asks anything, you are ready to perform. And that also comes by the expertise, by the experience. So these are the things you should clearly remember. Like it's perfectly fine, uh, even if you are not getting into the top ranked universities. If you get it, definitely it's the added advantage. If you do not get it, it doesn't mean that's the end of the world. You will not grow at all. You may find the other channels, and these channels might be much better than the channel that the people have already adopted by using the high ranked universities. So yeah, that's something that you need to constantly explore, whether you are going in a right direction, or if you are not getting one particular thing, if you take the alternate path, will that be a good path or not, and how will you progress in that particular path. So that thing you should be able to visualize it. So visualization is quite important. If you are doing masters in one particular universities, you should understand after 6 months or 1 year what will be your place, where exactly you will be. uh, it's it might be relevant with your percentage, with your CGPA, or it might be relevant with your internships, whether after 1 year will you get a required internship or not in one particular industry. Because if you channelize in that way, you got the internship suppose in Google, then what can happen after internship? You can plan your next 6 months. You can visualize yourself after 6 months. Okay, after this internship, uh, you can hold a job in Google if you perform quite well. So like this, you'll have a short uh, short aims. You don't need to worry about 5 years or 10 years. You just need to worry about after 6 months or 1 year where you will be, how much, what are the CGPAs that you need. And based on that, you will try to you try to apply all your efforts in order to get that particular position or get that particular opportunity. So yeah, always think what will happen after 6 months, or what will happen after 1 year. So accordingly, you create your opportunities, or you create your what I say. You create your channels. So if you don't get one particular opportunity, just go with the other channel, which will provide you the other opportunity. So you should always have the alternate options. So you should always have the backup option. That is very much necessary in today's scenario. even if you have 100% marks, it may be possible that you may not get the required university. That's quite possible because the 100% mark, I mean, there are like 100 people who are having the 100% mark. So then what will you do? I mean, definitely you cannot go above 100% mark. You cannot have 101% mark. You cannot change your past. The other thing is you should come up with your alternate plans, alternate channels, and then find, okay, this particular path will be really beneficial for you or not. And can you visualize it? Like where you will be after 1 year, where you will be after 6 months, based on your CGPS, based on the industry requirements that you want, or based on the academic uh, culture, or based on the academic interest, where exactly you want to go. So these are the things you need to continuously think about, and you need to have that particular idea. So if you can visualize it, then you can do it. If you cannot visualize it, you cannot do it at all. So the that's why the visualization, that's something, the intellect that we have, uh, apart from the other animals. So that is very much important in order to grow in life. What are the documents basically? Yes, the most important document is CV, but I'll recommend along with the CV, you should have your own website also. It does impact. Like right now, you are in your bachelor's, like it's like 21 or 22 years of age. So definitely in this, okay, your education started after 5 years. So definitely it's around 15 years. So in 15 years, definitely you must have done lot many things. So like projects, internships, your scores, small events. So you cannot describe all these things in one particular hour while interview. So during interview, he just check your CV and ask the required things. And you cannot tell all the relevant things which are really required for that particular interview. And it is quite difficult. One thing is, you know, but you don't remember what exactly you want to say. So for that, if you maintain website where all the things relevant to your internships, projects, your extracurricular activities are already given, then what will happen? That particular interviewer or the particular university or the particular professor will go to your website and check, okay, you have done this, these are the things which you already performed. Then while interviewing, that particular interviewer will only concentrate on the required thing. He will not ask you the other things which are not really important for the job, and you don't need to explain it also. So that's why you need to maintain your website, and in that website you can have your CV also. So you can go through my website, you can check. I mean, you can have your own way of developing your own website. This gives the idea basically writing. So for writing, definitely you need to think what exactly you want to put on your website. Definitely you want to disclose some of your privacy. So whether it's a private contents or not, and what details you want to portray related to academic and the professional and also the extracurricular activities. It does really impact because verbally you cannot say many things, and even if you say, it's like you are just trying to prove something which you are already not there. That goes impression. I mean, that impression is really bad. So instead of that, just put it on your website, and if something that is really difficult to explain, just tell them, okay, it is already in my website and you can explore this. Sometimes you have done some projects, and after 5 years they ask something about that particular project because it is relevant to the particular job or to particular master's program. Then definitely the things which you have already done, like a week before or a day before, you don't remember that. How will you remember the things which are already done for 5 years, like before 5 years? So if it is already on the website, you can clearly tell them, okay, this is done 5 years back and I don't remember the exact details, but these are the smaller details. In brief, if you want to explore, you can go to the website and it is quite mentioned there, all the brief information. So these are the ways you can play with the minds of the people, the psychology of the interviewers, and also the psychology of the universities. Because when you apply, there are like millions of people or the thousands of people who are continuously applying in the same universities. So for the university or the university professor or the recruiters uh, who wants to take you, who wants to admit you for one particular program, they will be having the constant scores. Definitely, they will be varying here and there. But that once that criteria is satisfied, your GRE TOEFL criteria is satisfied, then what are the other requirements? which makes you different from them. So in order to identify that particular qualities, they need to have some information. So how will they get that information? You cannot provide more documents. The number of documents are also limited. It can be a CV, it can be a motivation letter. I'll let you know what exactly the motivation letter is. So you just provide a link. If they are really interested and check, they will go to the website and check, okay, this guy is really efficient in working and he's really good at maintaining the things which he has already done. So definitely he's quite prompt with about his work. So that impression goes, and definitely you will get 1 point about the remaining candidates. Uh, it doesn't happen in a day. If you start today, you just simply add one page, one sentence in that particular website, maybe upload some images of projects that you have already done, upload your CV, add some details about some projects that you have done. So it will be a daily process. Every day, whatever you have done, you will just add a brief information. Again, the next day you will come, you will see what exactly you have done. You check the website whether it is updated or not. So like this, if I'm taking the today's event, so definitely some images of this event, I'll keep it on my website, because they will understand, okay, this particular person is really active in training events, in taking workshops. So they don't, I don't need to provide any proofs. But if I write only one sentence, okay, I take the training events, I mean, they don't have any proof. But if they see this particular images and the photos on the website, then they will get that clarification, and then they will understand, okay, this guy is really active in multidisciplinary areas, not only in technical aspect, not only on his work, but also how he can share his works with the other people and the other students. So that's a psychological impact that you create even if you are not there. So one thing is, if you have one-to-one interaction, how do you play with the words, and how do you make sure, okay, that particular interviewer will select you? Another thing is, if you're not there, and then also you want to make your impact. So for that, these websites, your CV, they make that particular impact that will be helpful for you for getting the job opportunities and also for getting the required master's programs. So once you have done the CV and website, definitely they will require your transcripts and degree. You should check what are the various procedures to obtain the transcripts on the university. If it is YCCE, there is a particular procedure they do follow. So you should know how many transcripts you will need. Transcripts are something which are quite similar to the what do you say, to your scorecards, like first semester, second semester, third semester, but they provide all the marks in one particular page. I mean, so for that, the transcript has slightly different format. So for each, and you cannot provide the scorecards, the original scorecards, but you can have the 10 transcript can go to one particular university, another transcript can go to the another particular university, because you cannot take the photocopies of the exam scores and send it to the universities. The best way is they always need a transcript. So transcript, universities do follow some format. To take that format and apply for the transcript, and you should have like 10 to 15 transcripts if you are going for the universities abroad like Europe and US. So definitely you must be applying for 10 to 15 different universities. So you should be having 10 to 15 transcripts. And degree, if you don't have, then provisional degree will suffice. Then your bachelor thesis, if you are performing, if you are doing masters, your master thesis, if you have publication, so definitely you can add these publications on your website also. You can add some details about these publications, because these are the points that you collect. So like for GRE TOEFL, you might be having 20 points. For your transcript degree, like from your scores, from your marks, you might be having 5-10 marks. Then your thesis, what are the project, whether it is relevant or not, you may get 10 or 15 marks. And after that, publications, what is the quality of the publications, whether it is in a reputed journals, whether it is in a reputed conferences. So there you may get 10 more points. So in this way, you need to evaluate yourself. Just by submitting CV, you cannot say, okay, you got all the points. Along with that, you need to provide the several evidences. Okay, you are active, and definitely you got the enormous results which are validated from the experts in that particular field, like your thesis project, your publications, and that validations are already done. And definitely for the evaluator in the university or in the industry, it becomes quite easier because you are already been evaluated from several people and you have the documented evidence, and you just need to see your personal behavior and your whether you are quite relevant with one particular job and or you are quite relevant with the master's program in that particular university or not. So that will be a, a few seconds game for him. I mean, he doesn't need to understand you. I mean, he doesn't need to identify you or interview you for hours because you already have the documented evidence and the validated evidence where you have already provided uh, your works, where you have already published your works in various journals or publications, the conferences. So yes, the documentation is quite important. If you have well documented uh, approach, then the things become quite easier in order to qualify any interviews. Well, then you have GRE, GATE, TOEFL, IELTS scorecards. If you are going for the US, definitely GRE and TOEFL or IELTS. If you are going for UK or uh, European universities, GRE, IELTS basically. But even TOEFL, that does account here also in Europe. In Indian universities, you should have the GATE scorecards. Finally, the SOP, the same thing is called as motivation letter and the cover letter. This might be required for your master's program and also for your PhD if you're applying for a PhD. Because you do have opportunity to perform master's plus PhD. So at that time, how do you portray your work, like your areas of interest and also whether it is relevant uh, with your previous field of expertise or not. So that's statement of purpose. So how's the format? You need to describe yourself, okay, from where exactly you are and what exactly you are doing. And then you need to come upon your work in the next paragraph. Okay, you have done this particular project in data science or in HPC or in image processing. And once you have described your work and if it is published in conferences or journals, you just mention it. And after that, finally, you need to describe how that particular university or the lab will be helpful for your future career. That's something called as career development plan. So you need to mention the importance of the university also, where exactly you're applying, how it will be relevant for your expertise, and what qualities that universities have uh, that will be helpful for your career development plan. So you can say like, okay, the universities have nice collaborations around the world. They're known for their innovative work, and also it is one of the reputed universities. So this kind of things you need to play with. So yes, you start with your introduction, start the SOP, and then uh, come upon your work, whether it is published, what are the different projects you have already done, and then finally uh, the importance of the university where you are applying, importance of the lab, and the importance of the professors, how exactly it will be relevant for you for the career development plans. So that's a SOP, which is also called as some universities will call it motivational letter, or some call it as a cover letter. Then LOR or references. So some universities directly ask for the letter of recommendations written from the professor or your supervisors from the BTech, and or they will some universities just ask the names of the professors who can recommend you on your behalf. So if they ask the letter of recommendations, you have the various formats online. Just take that format and see. I mean, ask your professor or your supervisor. They can fill it for you. And then for references, also you need to take the permission from your teachers, your faculties, whether it is okay for them if they provide your names as a references in this particular universities. So there also you need to understand, like, of course, some faculties do provide, they are quite flexible with this approach, but some faculties say, okay, you can only apply for 3 to 5 universities with my reference, because they also need to consider the 5 different students. What happens? All 5 different students are applying to the same place. So he cannot say the same thing to all the 5 students. So he need to understand. I mean, you need to understand his perspective, his view also. So that's why they have to limit your letter of recommendation. They will say, okay, if you are, I can provide only maximum 3 letter of recommendations or 5 letter of recommendations. So for that also, you need to have a proper connections with your faculties, specifically the faculties who are doing your projects, because that particular project will be important for your future jobs and future opportunities. And finally, the research proposal for PhD or postdoc. If you are applying for a PhD, so this will be the optional. For masters, you may not need it, but if you are applying for a master's in research, then definitely you will need the research proposal also. So this is quite different. You just need to explain what are the problems in one particular field where exactly you are interested. And once you have that problem statement, how you are going to solve it, and what are the timeline to solve this particular problem. So these are the things you need to include. So the SOP or motivation letter, it should be of 1 page. Your CV, if you're coming, after bachelor's, it cannot go above 1 page because it's simply a resume. That's the difference between resume and CV. A resume is hardly a 1 page. It should not be above 1 page. And if you're doing like master's or if you're working, then it can go around 2 pages. So SOP or motivation letter or cover letter, it can be 1 page. And the research proposal, definitely they say the total number of pages, but this should be around 2 to 3 pages, where you need to explain the challenges in that particular field, your field of interest. And once you have shown the number of challenges, you should tell them the possible approaches to solve these challenges and what can be the timeline for solving these problems. So these are the documents which are really important while applying for the universities. And different funding agencies. There is from EU. I'll just give some of the examples, but there are several funding agencies that you need to explore based on your area of interest again, and also based on the reasons. Like in EU, there is a Marie Curie Fellowship for PhD. It is one of the prestigious fellowships around the world, and it is the highest paid fellowship around the world. You will not get this much fellowship anywhere. Even in US or even in other places. So that's where I was a Marie Curie fellow basically. So I was hired as a researcher in the university. So I was not exactly the PhD student, but I was working as a researcher. I did publish my articles, my contributions, and once I published that, I was already enrolled with the university. So it's just a matter of publications. Once I got the publications, the PhD is complementary thing for me. So I was working, I was funded, but once I performed all the works and published it, I got the PhD as a complementary thing. So I don't need to work hard for the PhD separately. I was already working and just published my results and got the PhD. So that's how it can be advantageous. In India, the funding agency is definitely UGC and also the industrial projects. UGC provides through GATE for masters basically and also for PhD. So you get the funding. Like for me during masters from BITS Pilani, I got this GATE funding and based on my scores. So then how much it is, what are the criteria, whether you are eligible or not, whether the universities provide these fundings or not, that you should know. You should explore it initially. And from US, it depends on your scores, GRE, TOEFL. So some universities, they start directly by saying, okay, you are sponsored. But some universities say, okay, you need to come here. You need to stay here for 1 semester. And from 2nd semester, they will provide you the student assistant fellowship. So you need to take some labs or something like that. For that, they will provide you the fellowship. So it totally depends on your GRE scores, TOEFL scores, and then on the universities also. If they have funding, they will provide you for masters. If they don't, then they will ask you if you can come, and then we can sort it out by taking labs or performing teaching assistantship, or through other ways, through other channels, by applying for different projects and by applying for several industries for the funding. So these are the various channels to get the fundings. Available facilities. So definitely for applying for a master's program, you must explore this, whether do they have the enough projects, national and internationals, how's the lab, what are the collaborations as I discussed previously, do they have, if you're working on data science, AI, artificial intelligence, and The other high performance computing jobs, do they have HPC systems, various GPUs and FPGAs? So these are the questions you should ask directly to the interviewers, and also you should explore initially while applying, because they are really important for your growth, for your expertise. And then, do they provide enough access to the publications, the open access? Because the conferences and journals, they don't disclose, they're paid. So, but for universities, they already pay on behalf of you. So you get access via universities. So the universities, do they provide enough access to the publications and articles and the patents or not? And the important thing is travel grants. Yeah, this is very much important. If you are doing a master's or PhD, if you apply, if you publish your work and then you want to go to collaborate and to uh, publish your work and to disseminate your work, and also to deliver your talks, do they have enough travel grants or not? So I can just give you an example. In the Marie Curie Fellowship, we got enough travel grants. Like I explored around 10 or 15 different European countries. I could have even gone to US or something, but I didn't got that opportunity. But you understand, like exploring the EU countries are really costlier. But because of the talks, because of the conferences and the events, I could go to 10 different countries, twice or thrice in a single country also. So for that, it is totally funded, and I don't need to uh, spend a single penny from my salary. So the funding agency will provide all the grants for the travel, for the accommodation, and also sometimes for the food. So you don't need to worry about this. So once you have a proper funding, you just need to work. If you want to travel, you can travel around the world based on the conferences, journals, talks. You get all the grants for that. So that is really important to explore this kind of stuff from the labs and also from the universities. So finally, we come to this conclusion: earn and learn scheme. Definitely after bachelor's, there are ways, like some of the people, like most of the students, they go for the industries. I'll not say that's bad. If you really need the money because you have loans and you don't have enough backing related to money, definitely you go for the industry and work hard there for 2 3 years. But if some people, who are quite stable financially, I will suggest them go for the masters and PhD, go for the earn and learn scheme. Find the opportunities which provide the funding for the higher education, like masters and PhD. And once you find the opportunities, you got the scholarship, learn it. So what more you can have? I mean, you are getting funded for developing your skills, for developing your abilities. So nothing is better than that. This is something you must explore. In the industry, definitely you will be working for the industry in one particular area, but you will not be exploring several different channels. So that's a drawback in the industry perspective, but you will get the industrial expertise. But here, if you come and if you choose this particular opportunity in masters and PhD, definitely you get the scholarship and you get the other grants also. What more you want? I mean, for developing your skills, you are getting paid. So that's something really important, and you can exploit this opportunity. So scholarship during masters, the EU sponsored Marie Curie fellowship for PhD, then various postdoc fellowships after your PhD. If you are really interested in developing your skills further, then you can opt for the postdoc. You get funded from various projects, like in EU. There are various jobs, various funding agencies, various projects where you're enrolled as a postdoc students, and then you can explore the funding, explore your area of expertise, and you can develop your own skills. And finally, the industry funded projects like Google, Facebook, NVIDIA, and Microsoft, they do provide funding for the students who are really working hard in their particular field. For that, you need to submit your research proposal, and if it is quite relevant with their interest, and if they're really happy, then they will fund you for your masters and PhD. So you are getting paid for developing your own skills. Definitely, it will be helpful for them also, but the most important thing is you are becoming the all-rounder in your field. You are becoming the expert in your field, but with the money which is sponsored from some agencies. So you don't need to actively work on the industrial project or something else. So these are the references where you can find the different job opportunities. Like for high performance computing jobs, I have mentioned Hyper, international opportunities available globally. You can have this particular link and academic transfers. So then again, these are the generalized link. But if you want to see the job opportunities in one particular industry or university, go to that particular university, like Chalmers University from Sweden. It is one of the reputed university, and through that university, you can have the job channel. So through the job channel, you can find various opportunities as a research assistant, PhD student, postdoc students, software developers, and then there you can apply directly. Similarly, in the IT University of Copenhagen, Denmark, you can find the job vacancies directly. But for that, you need to go to that particular university, check the tabs, check the job opportunities tab, and check the relevant openings. If they are quite relevant, then apply. Ask the professors, contact the professors, email them, ask them, okay, you have this particular area of expertise, you have published these articles, you have relevant projects, and then I would like to apply for this particular opportunity. So if you ask them, definitely most of the times they do reply. And if they are interested, they will ask you for further documentation, and then they will take the nominal interviews, they will select you. But you need to have a proper approach. You need to find the opportunities. Once you found it, check the professor, the relevant authority for that particular position, ask them, provide them your details. Okay, these are the things which I have already done, and it is quite relevant with this particular project, and I'm really interested in this opportunity. And then if he is interested, definitely you'll get the positive response. Even if he is not interested, he'll provide you the connection where you can approach for this particular opening or for other openings which are relevant for your area of expertise. So your channels are getting more and more better. You are getting more and more collaborations. So I'll give one example, like my example, like how I develop my own profile just based on earn and learn. So BTech, I got full fee waiver from the YCCE because I got like one of the top ranks in the state engineering entrance examinations. At that time, it was SEEE. So, okay, I will give you the quantitative information also. The fees which were like 60 or 70,000 at that time, it was got reduced only 5,000, which was only a management fee. So you can understand the overall expenses, which was like around 2 lakh 50,000 or 3 lakhs, it got reduced to around 20,000. So there, I could. It was nearly a free of cost for me doing my bachelor's. For masters, I did explore the GET scholarship. I did my masters from BITS Pilani. So there, I got the GETS funding, which was around 8,000 at that time per month. So it was sufficient for me to learn and earn. So initial days, I could not have the initial funding, but later on, I did cover all the fundings. Like for PhD, Marie Curie funding, as I said, it's one of the most reputed fundings, and with which I joined as a researcher. I was a worker, but also I got my PhD as a complementary. And right now, also, I'm getting funded through Marvel projects, which is one of the European funded projects. So that's the one of the examples that I would like to provide. Like this is me. I mean, how I did this particular approach. What's better? You get funded for developing your own skills. So this is all. If you have any questions, I mean, I can take it and I can give you more details about it.
Dear participant, do you have any questions? So you can ask or you can type it in the chat box so that we can read that question to the Mr. Nitin.
Okay, we do have something here. How about your doing MSc in data science from Canada? Yeah, MSc in data science in Canada. Again, I mean, there are like some universities, 2 or 3 universities we are really reputed. You find these universities and what are the GRE and TOEFL. Again, they require GRE and TOEFL. But in Canada, there are a lot many opportunities, the future opportunities, not only in the industry, but also in the academia. So yeah, you need to apply the same procedure what you apply for the US, but the competition will be lesser compared to US and Europe. So definitely you will find more opportunities and the percentage of acceptance will be more in Canada. And yes, there are a lot many industries like in data science, like NVIDIA, Intel, Google, Microsoft, they all are there. So if the competitions are less, definitely the opportunities are more. So yeah, the same documentation, the LOR, SOP for getting the admission for the MSc in data science program in Canada, you just need to find the 3 or 4 universities from Canada and then apply it there. And the chances are more in Canada compared to US or Europe.
Any more questions, dear participant?
So even if you have any queries,
Yes,
you can ask.
yes,
Yeah.
there is one question from Sankalpa Shende.
Yeah.
That,
Right.
did you had learned Danish language for studying
Good
in
for
Denmark?
studying Denmark. Yeah,
So,
that's correct.
my question in continuation with that is it necessary to all to learn the foreign language, being an Indian
See,
also?
See, I mean, if the program, some people come for the bachelor's program here in Spain or Denmark or in Germany. The most of the bachelor's program are in German. So at that time, you need to learn the German. So first semester or say 2 semesters, they need to provide for learning German. But for masters, definitely if you are applying, you will apply for the English programs like masters in data science in English. So they do have in English as well as in German. In Germany, in Denmark, they do have in Danish as also in English. So if it is in English, you don't need to learn the Danish at all. But again, if it is in Spanish, so definitely you will not apply it. If it is in Danish, you will not apply it. If it is in English, you don't need to learn the Danish language. But it's always beneficial if you learn a new language as a skill, but it will not be a required thing for getting admission into the university. Like in Spain, I had that problem because I was not in one of the tourist cities. It's more like a local place, like Cordoba. Was not the tourist place, so people were not aware of English also, so they don't speak English. So yeah, in order to get habitual with the system and their documentation was also in Spanish. So in that case, but my education, my PhD was in, and my research work was in English. So at that time, I could work in English, but in order to survive outside the universities, even my friends they were only speaking in Spanish. So in order to speak with them, I need to understand Spanish. I need to start understanding Spanish, speaking Spanish in the supermarkets in order to survive, in order to identify the locations, in order to communicate in the bus with the drivers, with the other people. So for that, you need to become the all-rounder by learning a new language because you don't have any other option. Work is fine, but what about after work? So in that place, you need to learn the language. That's necessary.
Uh, I have one more question on behalf of students, that if any student want to pursue the higher studies abroad in other
Yeah.
universities other than India, when he should start preparing and how?
Okay. Yeah, that's also necessary. So basically, if you are applying, so if you are finishing your bachelor's in April or May, I mean, you will have all your exams finished by May. So you need to have some master's program in hand during August or September because you need to travel. So if you want to get the entry in the program which they are starting in August, so definitely their recruitment or their admission process will start around in January or February or even in December in the previous year. So that will be like your seventh semester, the end of your seventh semester. So definitely you need to start working on that particular admission process. So for that, you need to have GRE, TOEFL, and all other exams. So in ideal case, you should start at the start of your fourth year. So in the first semester of the fourth year, you will take all the exams, required exams, GRE, TOEFL, and you will create your profile, your website, and then you will apply for the several universities. But on a safer side, what if you don't get a proper GRE score or a TOEFL score? So it's best way to start in the final, I mean, the last semester of the third year. Because even if you don't have a proper score, you get a 1 semester time to develop your scores, the skills, and also your CGPAs, your percentage. And based on that skills, you can reapply, and that will be quite helpful. Because otherwise, what if you don't get it in the final semester, in the final year? Then you need to wait for 1 more year. For that, again, if you have the financial problems, you need to work in the industry, and then you need to apply. If you don't have, then you just need to wait for a year and you will be idle, sitting and doing nothing. You are just wasting your 1 year. So if you are going for a master's, you should apply 1 year. You should start preparing 1 year before, and then you should apply like the 6 months before. It is quite relevant with the job opportunities also, because nowadays, even if I apply, like if I want to search for opportunity, then I should start applying now in order to get all process done after 6 months. So if I start now by providing my resume, by applying to various positions, they will select, they will shortlist the candidates. It takes around a month. And then they will conduct the interviews. It will take another month. And after interviews, you will get rejections, most of the rejections, and then you will get the acceptance. That will happen in the third month or fourth month. So these 4 months are already gone. After that, you need to apply for visa and other processes. So it takes 6 months. And as I said, most of the things are you will get rejections. So if you are getting one acceptance, for that you need to be ready for 100 rejections or more than 100 rejections. I faced, like, after bachelor's, I faced around 100 rejections for master's program. I did give a GATE exam. I could not have enough scores for getting into the IITs. Then I gave several exams for BARC, ISRO, DRDO. I could not qualify it. And again, I did apply for several industries after masters, but I could not qualify these interviews. So that is like, even for the PhDs, I did apply for the Indian universities, US universities, European universities. So there I got the rejections. So there are like more than 100 universities I did apply. So after that, I got one acceptance. So you should be ready for your acceptance, but at the cost of 100 different rejections. So that mindset should be there. PhD completed in university, Indian university. Okay. See, for PhD, as I said, the ranking of the university, or the uh, what rank or what are the qualities of the university, that doesn't matter. What matters is your quality of work. If your articles, your work is published in a nice conferences or journal, then definitely that's the documentative evidence. So even if you are passing out from the NITs or IITs or the regional universities in India by doing your PhD, but if you have enough evidence for your PhD in a nice conferences and journals, that itself says much about you. So you really work hard and you know how to proceed with the research work. And for foreign universities, it doesn't matter where exactly you are coming from, whether you are from top 5 universities, top 10 universities. It doesn't matter. If they find the relevant work experience, if they find whether this is quite relevant with their particular projects, and you have enough evidence to prove that in the form of collaborations, in the form of presentation, publications, then you will get upper hand. So what matters is your work during your PhD. The name of the universities or the ranking of the universities really doesn't matter. I did my PhD from from Cordoba universities. It is nowhere in like top 500 universities at all, and nobody knows it. But just because of my work, I got various opportunities, and even now I'm in talking terms with several industries for various opportunities like Intel, and also there is a Barco. So it is not because of the name of the universities. Yes, if you have a high rank name, it does make sense, provide some impact. But if you don't have, what is in your hand is your work, is your expertise. And if you publish, if you show the work, then the definitely you show it in your website, and then industry will get, or in LinkedIn, then they will come to know, okay, you are this doing this particular work, you are doing this particular job, and then they will call you. And then you will start to have a discussions with them. They will have several rounds of interviews. They will try to identify you, understand you, whether you are really expert in this particular field or not, whether it is quite relevant with your expertise and the opportunities or not. And after that, you will get that job offer. So my understanding is the name or the rank doesn't matter. What matters is your work.
Yes, very nicely explained, Nitin. One last question from on behalf of the students from my side. that
Yeah.
we heard of many courses, MS courses, if they want to pursue abroad, they are, some are 1 year, some are 1.5 years, or some are 2 years. So which course to be chosen by them, and which will be beneficial for them, and why there is a differentiation, that 1 year or 1.5 year or 2 year?
In general, I will say go for the 2-year programs because that's the most accepted program all over the world, because they normally check 4+2 programs. But somewhere like in Spain also, after masters you have a master's program. After a bachelor's you have master's program for only 1 year. Why? Because like in India also, if we have 3 years bachelor's in science, BSc, then we have 2 years, so it's a 5 years program in total. So the same thing they apply it in other countries. So if you are doing you are so they take into account the 5 years program. So if you are doing your bachelor in science, it's a 3 years program, but then you have to do 2 years masters. But what if you are doing a 4 years technical uh, education? Then you do not have to perform 2 years masters. So at that time you get the flexibility to perform only 1 year masters. So for them it is quite relevant if they want in that particular country, because that particular 5 years master program is applicable in that particular region. But globally, uh, the most accepted version is 4+2, which is like bachelor's 4 years and then 2 years masters. And then based on the countries, they do have the 5 years master's program, like 3+2 or 4+1 or 4+1.5. So it is totally depend on the countries. But yeah, you may face difficulties sometimes if you have like 5 years masters or 5.5 years masters. So on a safer side, it's always recommended to go for 4+2 master's program.
Thank you so much for clearing our doubts. Over to you, Thote sir. Yes, I think one
Yeah.
more question has come.
Whatever the program we take, we may finish. Okay. Okay. To be honest, uh, you may not have, I mean, to be honest, even the work that I'm right now doing, I'm not confident enough whether I will be able to finish or not. So that's a part and parcel of a life. So whatever you are doing, it may be possible that you will perform outstandingly well, and it may be possible that you will lose that opportunity and you may not be able to perform well. Just like exams. So you have like 5 exams in one semester. Like this, you have around 40 exams. So it is quite possible that not all the exams you will be performing quite well. In one exams, you may fail. For my bachelor's, definitely. For my programming, even now I'm doing programming extensively, but during bachelor's I got nearly boundary marks for programming. So that is quite possible. Even now where I'm working, here also it is quite possible that okay, I may get results which I want or I may not. So you need to understand that's a part of your life. That's rejections is perfectly fine. But I should mention that point. If you are taking risk, I mean, if you are going out of your comfort zones, then it is quite perfectly fine even if you are failing. Because in your comfort zone you will not find a growth happens only when you are coming out of your comfort zones. So if you're coming out of your comfort zones, definitely you're exploring something which are not in your area of expertise. And if it is not in your area of expertise, definitely there are more chances of failure. Even Indian team got all out in 36 and then they won the series. You know that. That's the best example. So then you know that, okay, that's not my area of expertise, but then again, you are you are working hard. But while working hard, you'll explore many things and you'll develop your own skills in that particular directions. So that will be the added advantage for you. So if you success in that particular area, definitely it is more advantageous. But if you do not, you have a prior experience and you got many knowledges. Yes, I understand. There is a mentality. Okay, how will people judge? So that thinking you should avoid, because uh, it's people's tendency to judge you. Yours is to develop your own skills and to proceed further and to grow further. So what if I don't perform well in my postdoc? It is perfectly fine. I did explore and I got my new skills. I will apply for several other opportunities. If somebody wants to judge me, they're allowed to judge because it's their work. But and not that particular person. Okay, I will stop in that particular area. That's perfectly fine if you don't finish. So if you go with that attitude, it's perfectly fine. If you are taking risk, then you will be more confident in your particular area, because the confidence, you lose the confidence by the fear of losing something. If you don't have that particular fear of losing something, then you will always be confident. I mean, that's how I work.
Thank you so much, Nitin. Could you please give me the presentation, right?
Sure, I'll share it.
Yes, please. Over to you, Thote sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Nitin, for sparing your valuable time. You have already achieved so many milestones and still you are achieving. That is a very good motivation for our students. And I hope all the queries of all the students have solved. And I will consider the same cooperation of Nitin in future also.
Sure. I mean, anytime you can contact me, I will always be available. I mean, it's rarely happen. It may happen that I may not be able to give my time, but most of the times, 99% of the times, I'm always connected with Bilsare ma'am or Dubai ma'am, like from last 10 years, and also during 10 years after graduation and before 3 years when they started teaching me. So it's been 13 years I have been in contact with them. So it's my pleasure to always to share my knowledge and expertise so that it can be helpful. So my idea is basically, if at least one individual gets benefited from this particular talk, that's all. I mean, that's more than enough for me. So if it is advantageous for more than one person, so that's the added thing that I'm delivering to the people.
Yeah. Thank you very much, all the participants, IRO, YCCE, and all the faculties who have joined here.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, see you soon again.
Thank you, Nitin. Thank you so much for sharing again your time and sharing your all experiences with the students.
Yeah.
Now, yes, now we are having the another webinar back to back by Akanksha Tyagi. So once she will join, we will start with her session. Chavan sir, is she here?
Yeah.
No, madam, not yet.
Yeah, sir. He's ready to join.
Thank you, Nitin, again. Okay. Dear students, please wait. As soon as the speaker will join us, the next session will begin soon after this only. Yes,
Ma'am, Akanksha has joined.
Just join.
Akanksha has joined. Hello, good afternoon, Akanksha, and welcome again to the YCCE.